just in case. Okay, today what we are going to discuss, last week we discussed Scotch Gambit, and in fact today's arena I have put it with the theme of Scotch Gambit, I believe. So you can enjoy it, you can play out the things what we studied last week, you can put it to practice. And okay, so we are going to look at the basics of strategy today, just strategy. Okay, and strategy is different from tactics in the sense that it is a long-term plan. Okay, it is what you want to do. So it is like, for example, strategy is I want to go from here to say London or Delhi or maybe New York, and then it's a long-term plan, right? It is not that immediately I just take one vehicle and which takes me there, right, from my home. So I know there are multiple things that I will have to do. So even to go to Delhi, let us say, what I will have to do, I will have to some place in Delhi. So probably I will have to first take a cab from here to airport if I'm going by air. Otherwise, I will have to go to the railway station and take the train. And then when I land in Delhi again, probably, I don't know if you have seen Delhi, it might be that from the airport, I have a metro connectivity to many places in Delhi. And then from that place, then maybe I will take an auto or whatever, right? So it is a multi-step plan, right? And something you have it in mind. And even when you are going from my home to, I'm going to the airport, I know it is not that I'm just going to get out of the cab and that is done, right? I have to go take the flight and then take the next stop like that, right? So that is similar to what is strategy. Strategy is a long-term plan. Tactics is short-term. Tactics, what we say, pin tactics, fork tactics, etc. It is like, oh, I have an opportunity and I grab it. It is like saying that I wanted to go somewhere and suddenly I saw a cab coming empty. I just held it with my hand and I got into the cab and I went somewhere very fast, right? Instead of waiting for the bus or whatever it is. So that is like tactics. Okay, and both are important. It is not that one is important. Both are important. While pursuing your strategy, you should be open for tactical ideas, both which will help you as well as can harm you. So you have to stay away from them. And whatever can help you, you have to grab them always. And so tactical things on fin, fork, nets, overpowering, all of those, backrank, weight, all of that we should be anyway, we should be very, very familiar with. But just that is not enough. So especially when you are playing experts, you are playing people of your own strength, right? If you are playing against some weaker opponent, then most of the time you'll find some tactic and then you will be able to win it. But what about people who are same strong, as equally strong or even stronger than you, right? So then what do you do, right? So that is why the hey, hi Ishan. Okay, all right. So that is where the strategy comes in. If you have a long-term strategy, then you are likely to be much better off. Okay, so we are going to see the introduction to strategy, and I have made it very, very simple. Okay, so there are three phases of the game. We say in the opening, what do you do in the opening? What do you do in the middle game? What do you do in the end game? Right. So there are different strategies that you can apply. Roughly, these are the three stages of the game, right? First 10 or 12 moves we'll say is the opening, right? Next, maybe 15, 20 moves, even 25 moves, maybe middle game. And then you will get into the end game where only probably two pieces on each side are remaining and some pawns are remaining, etc. Right? Queens are off the board, etc. So that is the kind of, so we will look at that and we will also give you a general strategy every time. Okay. So that is what is the focus of this. And so I have already sent this handout. The handout has got two things. First is the principles which we are going to study now. And followed by that, I have given a game. I have given a game in the standard notation with some comments, which you are supposed to play through on your chessboard at home, maybe later today or tomorrow, whatever it is, but just go through it so that you can see how it is done. Okay. So with that, what we are saying is in the opening, what is the aim in the opening? What is the strategy in the opening? It is very, very simple. We have learned those basic principles of opening, right? Get as many pieces developed. Get your minor pieces out towards the center. Grab a share of the center. If you can, then dominate the entire center by having the pawns like e4, d4 or e5, d5. if you can put it then safely without getting exchanged, then nothing like it. If not, at least one pawn you put it, get a share of the center with your pawns as well as minor pieces, get your king to safety by castling, and get your rooks connected, right? All these principles we have illustrated it in this white side position. We have not showed any moves from black just because the intention is forget about it. This is what you would want to do, irrespective of whether you are white or black. This is what you want to do if given a chance, given a free chance. This is how you will want to develop. You will want to put e pawn and d pawn and maybe support it with a side pawn like c pawn. Get both bishops out. They are open. They are having diagonals open. Knights to almost natural position. So one side the knight is in the natural square. The other side also it has moved up so that the rooks get connected. King has got castled. Queen has come up one move up onto the second rank, and the rooks have come into the center. Right. All of this has been achieved. If you just count it, right. So then you just see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. In 11 moves, white have achieved this. Okay. So this is ideal. You may not be able.
Sir,
Yeah.
if white is so much like this, then how did like black not move only?
No. That's what I'm saying. It is not that black has not moved. Black would have also moved equally well, but we are just showing you from one side what is the aim. Okay, this is your aim. This is what you should aim at. Black will also aim similarly. So it is not that black will sit idle. If black sits idle, then his game is gone, right? But just look at it. Actually, I should have showed only the half board. Okay, the full board should not have been shown, only half board. And doesn't matter whether it is black or white. This is what you should aim at, right? That is what we are saying. We are saying that you should put your pawns in the center. You should develop your knights. You should develop your bishops. Get your king to safety. Get the queen to the second rank and get both the rooks towards the center on the files, because that is where the action will happen, E and D files. So get your rooks, because the rooks are not so much powerful if they are at the edge or at a thing, but if they are at the center of the board on the first rank, then they are very powerful, right? So this, you consider this as your long-term plan for opening. Now in between, what will happen is this, you may not be able to achieve it directly, easily, because what will happen is just like you said, right? Black is also going to be doing something. So let us see what happens if we take example now. Now with this thing, right? You try to play white like this, and I will play black, okay? And then I will just say how, okay? So try to play from white side. So who wants to?
Sir, me, Agastya. Sir, me. Ramnath. Me.
One.
Me.
So no point in you just type the move on the thing. I'm going to mute all because it becomes this one. So I'm going to mute all. So put your moves on the chat. What you want to do. Okay, someone Chinmay is saying D4. C said first, so I'm going with D4, and it's a good move. It's a good move, right? So now white plays D4. Okay. Now I am playing black. Okay. See, I know you want to play E4 next. All of you want to play E4 next and get a big center. So what do I play? I am also smart. So I am playing to play knight F6. See? So now I'm controlling, defending this square and attacking this square. Right? So I'm not going to put you to allow you to play E4 easily. Now what is the thing? Knight to G3? No, knight to G3 is not possible. Knight to F3. Just moving this F3 pawn here is not a great idea. We have seen it, right? It will weaken the king. So what do you want to do? Knight to F3, knight to C3. There are two different things. Many of you are saying knight to F3. Fine, I'll go with it. Knight to F3. Okay, some are saying knight to C3, but okay, knight to C3. Fine. Now, what do I play? What should I play? I play E6. Okay, now what? Now many of you want to play the knight to C3. Huh? Bishop to F4. Now I see many of you are saying knight to c3. So let us say knight to c3. Okay. So fine. So this is what is your idea. So what I want to do is, see, I am also, see, look how I am countering. Okay. So it's not easy. So what I showed you was only the ideal position. I am going to play c5 now, right? Countering your central pawn. And if you advance the pawn, I have my e6 pawn with which I will take it, right? So that may be the thing. b5, huh? You want to advance the pawn or pawn takes c5. Okay, Agastya is also saying pawn takes c5. Ramnath is saying pawn takes c5. Right? Okay, Ishan, go type your move. Okay, Ishan, what is it? I have allowed you to unmute.
Okay, but some people are saying pawn takes c5, pawn takes c5, then bishop on f8 can take it back.
Correct. That is what is my idea. So if you take it like this, right, I am happy because I will develop my bishop, plus I have eliminated your central pawn, and now I will going to play d5, right? So like I am having probably better control over the center, right? So versus you might have have pushed the pawn. It is also okay. Okay, it's pushing the pawn is also okay. Now what is my this one? What do I want to do? Maybe in this case, I don't want to take it now. Okay, so maybe I will simply play d6 now. Okay, I will open up my bishop so that in case you take it, then I will take it with my bishop. Again, I am slightly better, right? Slightly better, not very much, but I have developed my idea. So maybe this is what I will do. So anyway, I'm not going to play this entire game, but you get the idea, I think, that it is not a one-way street, right? Both the other side is also trying to counter, like so that is what it happens. And so the trick is to how to best while dealing with opponents. This one, you also try to have the best position for you. Now in this case, I think by my moving to d5, what has also happened is that you have ended up losing one move. Okay, no, knight to b5 etc. is not good moves. Okay, because you have to develop. See, your this pawn is not even opened up yet. This bishop is not even got a thing. How will you castle first, right? So so you need to so what I have done is I have kind of made you waste one move, but let us see. But you can still play e4 and it's a good move. But e4 is defended. It takes a grab in the center. It opens up this bishop, right? It is still a very good move. Not e3. If it pawn to e4, that is better. Okay. So like this you play. So but you got the idea. I think you got the idea. So it was just to illustrate how to play and how the play happens. Right? Fine. Not here. What were we seeing? Okay, so that was the principles of the opening. I hope everything. Remember, you have to develop. Okay, not move the same piece twice, not move the same pawn twice, as much as possible to develop. Right? Okay, you got it. Fine. Now, what is the aim in the middle game? Middle game is when probably both sides have developed. And now both sides have castled, and then you are trying to play, right? So this is an example, right? What you should try to do is that you should try to create an attack. Does not mean I'm saying create an attack, and I'm not saying attack, because you have to create conditions favorable for attack, okay? And then you can hope to win a pawn or maybe some minor piece, etc. But how do you create a condition which means that, see, everything being equal, simply if you attack, then nothing is going to happen. In fact, probably you are going to lose time, or you may lose some material also if you attack without preparation, or unless you are justifying the attack with some opponent's weakness. See, you cannot, it is like this, you cannot break your head against the wall, right? So if the opponent has got a strong wall, then that place you cannot attack, because no matter what you attack, you only are going to lose it. Like if I go and bang my head on the wall, will the wall break or my head break? Right? Probably my head will break, right? Not the wall. Similarly, in chess also, you should attack only where you have advantage. Okay, if there is some opening somewhere, some weakness somewhere, then that is where you have to attack, and maybe you have to help force black to create, I mean the opponent side, not black, opponent side, to create some weakness, which then you will attack, right? That way you win the I mean not win the game, but you start winning the okay. So there are some questions, I guess. Chinmay, I have allowed you to unmute. Tell me what is your, if you want you can unmute. Okay, Agastya, I have allowed you to unmute.
Sir,
Yeah.
I spot out my opponent's weakness and I win a rook most of the time.
Okay, so that is good. That is
And
good.
and sometimes even I win a queen.
Yeah. That is good. Always good. See, that is, so you have to be alert. So if the opponent makes mistakes, you have to grab it. But you have to also alert that you don't mistakes. You don't make mistakes. I'm sure sometimes you also make mistake and the opponent grabs the knight or a bishop or a rook or a queen, right? It happens, right? Sometimes. So,
Yeah.
so you have to be alert. You should not make a mistake, and you should induce the opponent to make a mistake and then grab, right? So that is the idea.
Sir, when I mostly take my rook, I mostly trap the opponent in somewhere where he's most focused, and I'm more focused to take the rook. That's how I easily take the rook for a bishop or knight, something like that.
Okay. Good. That is good. All right. Anyone else has any question? Anyone else has any question? So what we said is middle game, use space and open lines to attack against the opening. Who has raised the thing? Okay, I'm Dipant. You can speak. I have allowed you to unmute. Yeah, Dipant.
Sir,
Yeah.
in the middle game, can white play the rook to that pawn?
Here in the, you are saying in the diagram position.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean here what has happened is that the rooks have, so rooks like open files. Okay, open file means if the pawn is not there in front of them, then their power can project all the way to the opponent, right? So that is where, see, normally I said you put it the rook on E and D files, because that is where normally the lines will open. But in this position, what has happened is that F file has opened. So white has very cleverly put both his rooks on the F file because it is open. You see, E and D files are closed, but F file is open from the white's perspective. So white has put both the rooks there, and white is in a very strong position here, right? White is in an extremely strong position here. In fact, white is actually winning here. If you see, if you find the move, then if it is white to play, then it is win. Okay, that is the stage we are in. Okay.
Sir, the rook can play to F7 and take the pawn. After that, black rook will take, and after that we can put the knight there and try to attack the queen, sir.
Yeah, that is a way. That is a way. But if you are specifically looking at this position, there is an even better way. There is an even better way white to play. Okay, but I will let you to think. But first, let us look at what is written on the side. Okay, so this is just an illustrative position, right? What you should do. The rules are more important. Use space and open lines to attack. Always think about what your opponent is trying to do to you, and look for tactics. Okay, especially when you have a clue that there might be one. So here, for example, why there is a clue. There is an open F file. White's both rooks are there, and white's other knight, bishop, two knights, everything is towards the white's king. So there should something should happen, can happen on the black's king side, and that should make you think more. Okay, now I can see that the queen is there on D3, where if you see the diagonal, where that does that diagonal end, it ends on H7. And I have a knight on G5, which also supports it. So I should be imagining, oh, what if my queen reached H7, queen takes H7 check, it will become checkmate. right? But I can't do it right now because there is a knight in front of the queen and it is preventing it. But can I move somewhere? Can I move the knight somewhere forcefully so that I can get it? And now I discover, oh, if white to play, then knight to f6. You are right. Sahil is right. Knight to f6 is a check. Check is always a forceful move. Right? Now either king has to move, it's a knight check, or you have to capture the knight. Right? Now, if you see the king moves, then queen will straight away go to h7 and give a checkmate because both knights are covering the h7. And if the king does not move, if you take the knight, how will you take it knight? You can take it with the g pawn or you take it with the bishop. In either case, my queen goes to h7 and then there is a checkmate. Right? See, this is possible only because we created see, the attack worked now, but before the attack worked, we made a lot of favorable conditions by having my knights and bishop move towards the king side, open file, rook there, everything, all of that is there. And my pawn has moved from e4 to e5, driven away the black knight on f6. And now there is no defender. So now it has become very weak position of the black king. And now I finish him off with a tactic. Knight f6 check, wins the game instantly. Okay, but it did not happen immediately. You had to work towards it. You had to fight towards it. You had to strategize towards it. Okay, so this is just an example. Okay, all right. So this is what we should do in the middle game. Now, oops, sorry, and change the, yeah. Here, let me know if you can see the right side of the screen. Can you see the right side of the screen, which is showing in the end game? Everyone can see it. Just give a thumbs up or something on the chat. Yeah, you can see it, right? Okay, all right, cool. So what is the strategy in the end game, right? In the end game, your strategy should be, yeah, middle game we have kind of completed, right? So the strategy is to create an attack in the middle game, to create focus on the weakness of the opponent and create an attack. That is what is the middle game, and try to win at least one pawn, right, in some tactic somewhere. So now in the end game, assuming that one side has got some extra advantage, let us say maybe win or this one, and not winning a pawn or something like that, and now you are in the end game. See, this is like an end game position. There are two rooks and a knight each, but white clearly has an advantage. Can you see it? Just looking at it, you should be able to think that white has got an advantage, right? So that is how it works actually. So so in the end game, your strategy is attack and win enemy pawns. Anytime if you can win extra pawns of your opponent without giving up your own pawns, that is a good thing in the end game. Okay, because pawns are the most important thing in the end game. Why? Because, yeah, you are right, Agastya, you are right. Here in this position, if it is white to play, then it is an immediate win. But assume it is black to play, then also it is still a win for white. Should be winning for white. So don't consider it as white to play. Consider it as black to play, and then see. Okay. So what I was saying is, try to win a pawn. Even one extra pawn in the end game can be very decisive. In the middle game, in the opening, it may not mean much, but in the end game, one extra pawn can be a winning advantage. Can be, I'm saying not always, but can be many times, right? So in the end game, it is important to advance your pawns safely, but safely, I'm saying. Advance the pawns, but safely, which means don't advance them if they are going to become weak pawns and they are going to lack support. But if they are going to have good support, or if you have your pieces well connected with the pawns, then advance the pawns, because whoever has got more advanced pawns is likely to have advantage in the game. Okay, and get your king up for the ending. Kufte, we call it. So king up for the ending, because kings are supposed to be there in the corner in the castle only for the opening and the middle game phase, where a lot of pieces are there, they can attack the king. That is why you want the king to be at the corner. But the moment end game starts, you will see all master games will see that if in the end game, both the king try to come into the center and advance. Okay, because in the end games, king is a very powerful piece, not in the middle game, but in the end game. Okay, because the other pieces are all gone, exchanged. So now very few pieces are left. Sometimes there is no pieces left, only king and pawns. In which case the entire action depends on how active is your king and how advanced it is versus the opponents, right? So you have to change your thinking. What works in the opening may not work in the middle game. What works in the middle game may not work in the end game. So you have to. So in the end game, if you put your king to further to the corner, h1 or h8 or something, and go away from the center, the opponent is going to have a very good field day, and he might win very easily, even from a losing position. So remember, try to win pawns while defending your pawns. Your own pawn should be well defended, and you should try to win at least one pawn in the end game. If you get that advantage, then many times it is easy to convert that end game. Okay, then move your pawns, try to advance the pawns, not just hold them, but advance them safely. Okay, and try to get your king up into the center and forward for the end game battle. So that is what is the strategy in the end game, these three things, if you remember. Okay, and now we are coming to the final summary of the strategy. If you are ahead of the in material, let us say you are one knight ahead or whatever, one rook ahead, etc. What is the strategy? Don't relax, because sometimes you relax and you make mistake and you can give up the advantage. So don't relax too early. Okay, keep the control, keep your head cool, swap pieces. If you are ahead, then exchange of the pieces, because the more you exchange of, the more advantage it becomes. Say, let us say suppose in the middle game, you have an extra pawn, but the overall count of the things, or you have extra knight. Okay, the other side has got two bishops and a knight, and you have got two bishops and two knights. Now, if you count it, everything else being equal, minor pieces, he has got 3, you have got 4. And 3 to 4 is a difference, but it is not as much. But if you exchange of 2 of the minor pieces, now he will be left with only 1, and you are left with 2. So 1:2 is a much bigger difference. And even if you exchange one more, then it is 0 versus 1. So 0 versus 1 is an even bigger exchange, right? So your advantage increases if you swap, means exchange the pieces, but leave the pawns on. Don't exchange the pawns if you are ahead. Why? Because pawns are the ones finally you are going to win by promoting a pawn to become a queen, not otherwise. Okay, it is not possible otherwise. In the end game, always the aim is to promote one pawn to become a queen, sometimes to become a rook, but mostly it will become a queen, and then give checkmate. That is how the end games are won. Okay, so always leave pawns on the board, but exchange the pieces. And what exactly the reverse thing if you are behind? So if you are behind and you are don't assume that you are going to lose the game. Many games keep turning like this, topsy-turvy. Okay, and if you give whoever gives the best fight can even win it. So don't give up. First thing is that don't give up. Don't resign. Never ever resign a game. Play all the way till you get checkmate. That is my advice, strong advice to all of you if you want to improve. Never resign the game early and then start a new game. No, in that same game, even though it looks difficult, it looks horrible that, oh, I'm going to lose the game or whatever it is important to fight and to keep playing. Okay, yeah, I will come to your questions. I will just finish this and then, okay, so don't give up. That is the most important thing. Second thing is get some counterplay, which means that don't just try to defend, try to also attack on some other side, so that it creates confusion, it creates complexity, etc. Right? So that is what we should do. Yeah, okay. Ishan is asking that he sometimes wherever he plays with the actual games, and he can note it down and he can share the notation and ask questions about it. Very much welcome. In fact, I suggest that you should maintain a notebook for all your games, and you can write down your games and give some space. Don't completely, so that you can write comments later on. Oh, this is where I made a mistake. This is where it is. So you want to later on write some comments there. Please leave some space and maintain a notebook. If you do that, you will become really good. Okay, so that's Ishan, excellent thoughts. Please do that. I will be happy to comment on your games sometime. Not every time, but sometimes. Okay. All right. So what is the strategy if you are behind? We said don't give up. Don't give up. Get some counterplay, and if you are behind, then try to exchange the pawns. not the pieces. Because if you exchange of all the pawns, then the chances are that you will get a draw, even though the opponent has got 2 minor pieces. So opponent may have a knight and a bishop, but it is very difficult to checkmate with that, even though you are 6 points up. But if you are just 1 pawn up, then it might be easy to queen that pawn, right? So that is the idea. So if you are behind, then exchange pawns, not pieces, get counterplay, attack somewhere else, right? And then don't give up and keep fighting. That is the thing. Don't resign. So yeah, so this is what is the overall strategy. Now let me go and see who has some questions or whatever. So Dipant, I have allowed you to unmute. What is your question, if any?
Sir,
Yeah.
well, many times I lost my queen, but also I won at the last.
That is what it means, right? Even if you lose the queen, see, that is the spirit. Even if you lose the queen or something, don't give up, keep fighting, and sometimes you'll get back the opponent's queen, and then or maybe even more, or you might be able to give a checkmate, right? So that is what. Good. Himika, I have allowed you to unmute.
Sir, in the tournaments I always lose because of the time.
If that is the case, then you have to play a little bit faster. See, what you have to play is that all of us are playing with 7 minutes plus 3 seconds, right? So maybe that is where you have to play a little bit faster, because there is no other way unless you play slower games with somebody. But now typically we have tournaments and common this one, right? So you have to just try to play faster, especially in the opening and early middle game. You have to play faster so that you can have more time. So maybe what it means to me that some standard openings, maybe you have to just go through it and see the standard move so that you don't spend time on that early. Okay. Fine. Agastya, I have allowed you to unmute. What is your?
Sir, whenever I lose my queen, I always lose. So how to prevent that?
So maybe what I suggest is maybe look at some games that Dipanta, can you share some games with the group where you lost the queen but still you won? So maybe just go through those games and see how he continued, right? So the whole point is don't get disheartened and continue playing and try to think. So what happens is if you lose hope, then it will become very easy. So I suggest that you look at some examples. Maybe all of you can share with each other where you lost queen or rook or something, but still played and then won. I'm sure there are some games. So go through that and share with each other and tell each other how you fought back, right? You can share, you can make a study out of it on Lichess and you can share it. Okay. All right. I think we are coming to the end of it. If there is any question, Mishti, Shreyas, Yashika, everyone got it? Rutvij?
Yeah.
Rushad? Akash? So I have put this handout also out. So please go through this handout, and at the second page of the handout is a game, so which will illustrate the same things that we discussed, all the strategy, right? It is illustrated. So play through those so that you will get a better idea. Okay. All right. So this handout is there on the WhatsApp. Okay. Fine. So with that, I'm going to stop the recording, and we are